So I just want to kind of go through the places in which you might not think about yourself being a water entity. But once I kind of list for you how many places you're made of water, it starts to change your identity, your sense of self. And why I want to get you to this new sense of self as a body of water is because you will have more access to to a wider range of being a body once you get this information down. So I'm just going to sort of start at the top. Your brain is 80% water and it sits in water. It's a jelly bowl in a bowl of water. That's what your brain basically is. And then you follow out the nerve system of that, and all of those nerves are finely graduated cellular structure of the nerve cells, tiny. Basically, a cell is a tiny pillow of water. It's a tiny little balloon, and the organ system, the vascular system, the lymph system, the respiratory system, the muscular system, the joint system. Well, I'll get to bones and teeth and nail in just a second, but you see how I'm layering now. I'm pulling you into this idea that each one of these systems is made of tiny cellular balloons of specific destinations and missions that are little pillows or balloons of water. So then that cohesion of that system makes sense now that they're all water, all the cells are water, and those cellular packets of water, the little balloons, communicate back and forth with each other for larger projects and larger missions, even while they're doing their own specific mission. And even when you think about bones and nails and teeth, these are structures of water that are super dense. They're just super dense water material that are interacting with other molecules to make their particular mission manifest. So, this idea that you are far more made of water than you ever imagined then brings the conversation around hydration to the fore. So now you know why I care so much about hydration, because it is our access to understanding ourselves in a much broader, bigger picture of what we actually are. So this idea that hydration of your tissues, because you're then now feeding the whole system, you're feeding it the material moistness, very simply, the energetic power of water. So from the work of Dr. Gerald Pollack, we've really identified water molecules as enhanced batteries that literally create energy. So water is moistening, it's your energy. It's actually your energy for running your whole system. So it's your gas, and then it's the medium, the amplifier of all information in your body, the way to orchestrate all the information that's going on in your body so that it's getting a symphonic, it's getting out of chaotic and into symphonic conduction. And so you're far more made of water than you ever realized. Every system you touch in the body can be drawn back to its water basis. In fact, May Wan Ho, a really beautiful pioneer in the field of water, says all biology is water-based. It's all cellular biology is water-based. So um, that's a lot of information for you to take in one shot. But what I've then now crafting this idea that you are a body of water, and that water, you're made of water, you're the material of water. You run on water. It's the energy and the gas for your system, and then it's the information transfer that happens for all incoming and outgoing coordination. That's a lot, okay? So it makes hydration come right to the fore. But the problem with we have is that we only understand hydration coming in through drinking. That's the big message we've received. That the way to hydrate is to I don't know, endlessly drink at this point. So it's true that drinking is a vital form of hydration, but it's also true that hydration it comes that the system's biology always provides many ways. They never take a really important system and only give you one access. So biology has figured out that there are many ways to hydrate. It isn't just the drinking. And food is essential to partnering with food is an essential part of how we're getting hydration. And it may even be more foundational than just liquid water. You get water in food in a already phase changed form. And that water in food is matched to absorb into your cells right away. So that sort of explains why guzzling so much water can leave you like flash flooded and not actually able to absorb. Whereas bringing food in that's already locked in water is a very perfectly set up natural system to get you to hydration that's already matched to your system. It's in a phase change already, molecular phase change that allows when you eat water, for example, we're just talking about an apple right now, or a watermelon, or whatever, mushrooms. Pick the food. It's made of as much water as our bodies are. So I'm getting you to this whole idea of how profound everything is made of water. The majority of it is made of water. So food is really essential. Um, it's become matched to your system through its own photosynthesis process, through the sun it's exposed to, and then also through the minerals that it pulls up. So you're getting like enhanced water when you use food as hydration. Another major way to get hydrated besides guzzling all that water is movement. It turns out movement is essential. It's, let's just call it like the second half of the formula that biology has created for hydration to happen. And there's sort of some subcategories under movement that I want to break out. One is that every time you move, you are creating a physiological effect. You're actually generating water. You're generating electricity that's then conducted by the water. So moving your is a way that energy water becomes energy in your system. It's how you make it turn into gas. And also that movement is the only way that you can push water around the body. If you want distribution of hydration through your system, through your all your tissues and your organs, it requires you to move. That's the system. It was made to do that. And from, again, the anthropology perspective, in the mechanical aspects of a body in motion, movement, it's capable of, we don't even think, it could even be an infinite number of positions that the body could get into. Certainly, we have documented over 300, but by the time our culture, our teenagers have gone to, by the time they hit high school, we are only recording about 30 postures or motions in the body. That's extraordinary. We are such an immobile society. It's contributing to our dehydration in a way we haven't really understood. So, and then of course, traditional wisdom tribes would be walking most of the time. That requires the whole body movement plus percussion. So you're getting external movement from percussion and internal movement as the organs move. So all of that is pushing your fluid through your system in order to make you a free-flowing system, and in order to deliver your gas, and in order to deliver the information to the tissue that needs coordinating with. So movement is incredible, and we really want to hope people get the message that when you move, you're creating your own water inside of you. You are a water factory. Not only are you a water being, your cells, your mitochondria make their own water. This is shocking. People are not aware that they make their own water, but you do. Pretty exciting, right? Okay. Hydration is also extremely connected to light access. The light that comes in from nature is another form of hydrating. And people always get excited. They want to question me a lot because they say, no, you go out in the hot sun and you get hot and that dehydrates you. And I'm like, no, there's a much bigger picture going on. And that picture involves that the being exposed to sunlight, especially the sun is a massive clock in the sky. Depending on when you go out at a certain time of the day, that clock is giving your body information through light, and turning on your clock and having it set as you move through the day is part of this circadian rhythm that we're just really pulling new science in about. But why light changes the water molecules inside your system is its ability to deliver timing and photons and light information. And what happens is the water molecules are the most sensitive receptor of information. They're going to organize your day depending on the light they've been exposed to. And your water molecules are organizing themselves into good receptors for the food that comes in and the movement that you make and all the other things we're going to talk about. But it is a new conversation to help people understand how much their exposure to light matters. And then, of course, we'll get into the infrared conversation, but the morning light is an infrared treatment. Sunset is an infrared treatment. And we don't even know what else is in that light treatment you're getting. We know how to isolate it and offer infrared treatments, but we don't even know what else light is doing in giving our body information. So when you live in an immobile society, and you don't get out into the sunlight very much, you're dehydrated. That's the most basic way I could say it. And it shows up in the ways we experience our life and our system. So another aspect of this is really interesting is if you're thinking about light as incoming wave information, right? There's another source of incoming wave information, and that's sound. And so I really love to open up the idea that sound is a form of hydration. Why? Because sound is also wave information coming in that is organizing chaotic water molecules into efficient delivery of information and energy. Again, always it's the gas and the information. So now I'm going to just give you like a shortcut phrase to say this, and we can unpack it a little more when we talk. But sound, listening to frequencies or music is as hydrating as having a glass of water, especially if that water's like contaminated or, all the things we have to go through. Because when you drink that water, your body has to go and do the work of organizing it. If it's coming in as chaotic liquid water, your body goes and organizes that water. That's an energy output. So it's less efficient. Sound is coming in such a way that it's organizing water molecules to become more efficient to deliver the angle of the information in the same way that light does. So it's an exciting new conversation on hydration, right? I see you shaking your head. Okay,
I'm
now,
so excited.
so I've given you some alternative ways for nature biology to hydrate us besides all of that guzzling, right? I want you to get one, you're more made of water than you ever dreamed. Two, now hydration, since you're just basically water inside water, now hydration becomes your number one intervention to the whole fluid web of life that's going on. So you want to think about your hydration, but you don't have to think about more drinking just to get hydrated. Now you get to practice and think about many other ways. Movement, sound, light, joyousness, all of that stuff is new access to hydration. And I'll just say it really also being well hydrated leads to emotional resilience. Not only does it bring buoyancy to your cells, but it brings buoyancy to your thoughts and your moods. So if you're crabby, you're dehydrated. So that's a good way to check and see. But the conversation I want to get to now is what hydration does to your physiology running in coordination with each other, all pulling in the same direction. When you are well hydrated, what happens is your body functions then create a new capacity for perception. So as a way to illustrate this for you, I'm just going to talk about the eye and the eye socket. So remember, I'm talking about multiple things. I'm talking about the materiality and the moistness of water. I'm talking about water as the gas that runs all the systems. And I'm talking about water as the information that keeps it alive. Otherwise, we just have a moving object, water-fueled body just floating around. Well, you got to have the information to make it do things. And the information, let's talk about the eye as the incoming information. Your structure of the eye the eyeball itself is made out of that rich jelly kind of water. And to have clear perception, your eyeball has to be filled with that fluid. It doesn't focus without that buoyancy of the gel in the eyeball. And so you're actually what you're looking at depends on hydration, and that eyesight is clearer when you're optimally hydrated. It turns out your hearing is better if you're optimally hydrated. And the clarity of your cognitive executive function is higher if you're well hydrated. So this means that I've laid out for you how we're living in a dehydrated culture. Our whole culture is conspiring to dehydrate us at every point with this immobility and the indoor living and the constant screen use. Screen use turns out to be dehydrating, of course. The foods that we eat, the multiple ways in which our body has to do stress management instead of vital, joyous reception information, right? Reception. So, this idea that hydration leads you to better perception um, is now I'm linking you back to how I opened this conversation, which is how to add new identity to yourself as a higher perceiving identity through hydration. And why I want to bring that to your attention is where and how are we getting information to perceive? And the rest of creation is also made of water and able to send us information. For example, many cultural traditions talk about receiving plant information, that they're able to communicate with plants. Well, that communication is happening because they're well hydrated and they're able to receive information that we're, as a dehydrated culture, just aren't receiving. So the idea, even that DNA, we'll talk about DNA as a hydration structure. We have the work from what is it, Cornell University in 2017 identified that DNA has a spine of hydration. Of course, every cell is surrounded by or packaged in water. This water is the receiver. It makes us receiving and creatures. We're able to receive more, perceive more when we are well hydrated. So, wow, that's a lot of information. And I hope I've like opened up the idea that you are literally a fish moving through your day and how to activate that joyous vitality is part of the whole hydration story. Um, so there's just a couple other things because I know they'll come up. Maybe I'll save them for questions. Somebody asked me about vapor at some point. We'll stop there and open for well, how did this strike you? How does this help you? What did you hear? Tell me more.
Let's see, does anybody have questions? J. Paul, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, brilliant. I really, really enjoyed it. You really brought together a lot of things. And what was interesting is as I'm sitting here at my dining room table and I have a stack of books from Sebastian Kneipp. I'm looking at the old hydropathic, but what you just described, where it's primarily water, good foods, movement, and then herbs, the plants, and then putting together in the middle of that, so you have water, one, foods, two, movement, three, herbs and plants, four, and then fifth is the perception, the meditative perception, and it's really, really, really good. I once met Mei Wen Ho, and she was brilliant, just a really, really good person. But I think this, and the way that you've connected it with a new identity, there's a lot there because it taps then into conscious, wet consciousness, so to speak. Yeah. So this is really good. Thank you. I just the many, holy hydration. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good. Thank you very, very
You're
much.
welcome. It's exciting to think about relating perception to consciousness because
Yeah.
everyone's having the consciousness conversation, and I
Yeah.
kept going, that isn't the route into it. We have to find a way. Let's start the conversation with perception because everybody
Yeah.
knows what that is. They
Mhm.
don't know what consciousness is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so uh, I want to say that I hope we leave this time together with a passionate new identity about how incredible our bodies are. This is my gift from nature, my
Mhm.
first gift, and the gift by which I find out everything else about creation. And
Mhm.
we are so estranged from our bodies. It's
Yeah.
astounding. You couldn't make a, mini series about how estranged we are from our own gift here, our own bodies. This landscape to explore and discover
Mhm.
is just amazing.
Yeah. One point, last thing, the waters of consciousness as
Mhm.
well as conscious waters. We are walking mud trapping conscious waters. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Love it.
Thanks, J. Paul. I see we have two more questions so far. Nadia, would you like to go next?
Sure. First of all, thank you. In the early 90s, I lived at Brighton Bush Hot Springs, so we were off the grid. We walked everywhere. All of those things, the clean eating was part of it, and we were outside. I mean, sure, this time of year it might be raining or snowing, but you still had to walk from your cabin across the creek, and we had river water that was purified after it was chlorinated to make sure we didn't have any beaver or anything else. But it was like, and I lived in Alaska one summer, but we couldn't walk because
Oh,
there were bears.
oh.
And there was a French chef cooking for us, and I gained about 15 pounds while I was there. And people would ask me, well, how did you lose it? It's like, well, I went back to Brighton Bush for 3 months and worked there. And yeah, so it just clicks a lot of things into place. I also learned to play the harp there and tuning forks. So as you were talking about the sound, it's like the harp sits across against the breastbone. So it's one of the instruments that brings it right into the breastbone, but you can do that with a tuning fork. So it's like,
The tuning
anyway,
fork conversation is really important.
yeah.
Um, I think uh, if we understand vibration as some of the things that makes the water molecule the happiest, like they just love to get receive vibration. Why? Because it's energy and it's more life and it's more invidiating and it's more information. The information that comes in through a tuning fork into your body. I mean, it's again, now we're helping those water molecules, the vast amount of water molecules inside of us, organize themselves, listen, have a mission for responding. Because now they get to release a response that if they didn't have the vibration, they wouldn't have that opportunity to release a movement or a sound or a relationship with the tuning fork. So beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for your work. I see you have a slider. I know you must know
Yeah.
Eileen McCusick's work, also John Belu. Have I said his name wrong? He was one of the original researchers in discovering that that the tuning forks had as much impact on brain scans as LSD did. He really did his work back in the 60s and the 70s. He's an extraordinary man. He's up in New Paltz, still working in his 80s, awesome. Another way to hydrate.
Exactly. Exactly.
Diane, would you like to go next? I'm so happy to see you here on the call. Diane's joining us from Germany.
Oh,
She's
hi,
a
Diane.
water sommelier and specializes in the Heilwasser or the medicinal waters of
Mhm.
Germany. So
Awesome.
welcome. Thank you for
Welcome.
coming, joining us, Diane.
Thank you
What's your
so much.
question, Diane? Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel your passion so much. Thank you for everything. And yeah, my first question was, what is the role of minerals and trace elements in water?
Yes.
So,
Another way to hydrate. If you think of minerals as, I'm not going to say I'm saying this, I'm just saying this to think with. Let's say minerals are inorganic. I'm not sure I believe that anymore, but let's just call them inorganic to say how does the information vast amounts of information in mineral content get translated from an inorganic material into a organic being, whether it's a plant or me. How does that happen? Well, it can only happen through the medium of water. And if we are not aware of the urgent information inside our minerals to help us live, that they are a necessary part, and we're not finding ways to get them into our systems, then we're really in trouble. That is like the whole story is held in the minerals. And the minerals are the original story, and that they want to sing to us. But how can they do it if we don't have any water to pick up those signals? So the mineral conversation turns out to be so foundational because it is minerals and water coming together that created original life, right? You can't get any more basic than that. So why are we struggling? Okay, now I'm going back to an anthropologist looking out at our culture and recognizing the stripping of access to minerals in our life. We don't go to hot springs. Our food is compromised deeply by our agricultural practices. We hardly go outside and even just let the soil provide for us. We are so mineral deprived. No wonder we're all crazy. No wonder we're all chronically ill. So this mineral part, I'm so glad that you brought it in because it is absolutely what we're missing. Diane, I bet you have some comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say about minerals.
Yeah, so I would say it's exactly what I would add. And yeah, the difference is if you have a high minerally sized water where you feel that the minerals are becoming part of you because they're in the liquid. That's
Mhm.
such a bit different compared to a pill. And if you try only a few weeks and you can't feel the difference, I think then I tried it, and I think there's so much to explore for a lot of people in our worlds there. And if you see how many people are ta intaking dietary supplements and pills, because they can't get any mineral water anymore. So it's one of the things, yeah, it's so basic. If you can't do like water curings anymore with mineral waters, for example, what was part of our culture
Mhm.
many yeah, centuries ago. And ancient Romans, ancient Greeks, they were already very deep into all this knowledge, and we lost it for a long time. And seeing how we kept all this knowledge, and right now we are rediscovering things for, yeah, I hope for the next generation, and that's my big hope. And with everything you taught me right now, and all of us here about minerals, that's exactly what I feel. Yeah.
Exciting. I do think minerals need to come with water. I don't think we can take just the supplements. They're already dehydrated, right? Why would you pick that strategy if you already know you're a water being and you need water to partner with the minerals? I have a question for you. I'd love to ask you what you make of fulvic and humic, the new interest in fulvic and humic acids as mineral ingesting.
So I didn't understand the
Yes,
question really well.
fulvic and
Mm-hmm.
humic acids, they're
Yes.
very popular right now. A lot of
Yeah.
people ask me, is that a good way to get a good broad spectrum of minerals?
Um,
It's
I
like
wouldn't know. I think,
black water. Have you heard of black water, Diane? It's like the water that's black.
yeah, I think this is exactly where there's a lot of scientific things still have to find out, or scientific research has to go
Mhm.
deeper still, because we don't know exactly what it means. And yeah, I'm excited too, because
Oh,
it's one
there's
of the things we don't know right now.
so Janet's holding some up there.
Blurry though.
It's blurry. There. Oops, there.
What is that?
It's black water. That's like
Is it mica
fulvic.
based? Is it mica based or is it fulvic based?
It's fulvic, the
Okay,
black water.
great. Yeah.
Pelvic, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent thing to add in an environment where we're stripped of minerals. It's another way, and again, it comes already packaged in water. That's, smart, very smart. So I know shallajit is also a big popular. I'm just looking at all the things, I see what bubbles up and people are trying and talking about. So I'm curious to see what people think.
Um,
But again, going back to mud, mud baths. I mean, think of the minerals that are sinking into you as you have a mud bath.
Exactly.
It's
Mhm.
gorgeous.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. Yes, we
I
wanted to get to your question, Anastasia. I know it was important.
well, it's just because I found it so fascinating reading your book, and you talked about how our bodies are solar powered. And then it talked about how sun can hit you when you're outside and go right into your skin and impact the water and basically electrifying the water inside your body from the sunlight. And so what I was wondering if that ability for sunlight to create that infrared battery charge within our cells, that if we were soaking in mineral water outdoors in the sun, would that sort of be a, a, a double a double
Trifecta.
extended trifecta? Like, would that impact, in your opinion, do you think that the soaking in the sunlight would give an extra boost of electrical charge to our
Yes,
water?
yes, it does give an extra boost to electrical charge. So more electrons are made and released in that environment. And that is because we know that from Dr. Pollack's work that radiant heat, so now we could talk about infrared as well, but radiant heat organizes the water molecules to have more charge and to have more electron flow. So you're literally sitting in a vat in that water that's got extra electrons flowing into your body, in and out. We have to remember that they move out too, and that's important because what are they taking out? Toxins. They're taking this, you are a fluid system that's constantly cleaning itself. It's receiving bad information and cleaning it up and sending it out. This is why hydration is so resilient. It's so great. But it's also why we're 98 degrees. We are internally radiant as well. And that's why we're alive.
Amazing. Thank you so much. What about anybody else have more questions? Do you want to close us out with anything special, Gina? Something we haven't thought of or talked about?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about vapor and breathing and why breathing is a powerful hydrator. Um, the amount of vapor you pull in through your respiratory system, it's negligible in terms of hydrate. You're not going to get hydrated by just breathing, although we do have cultures, we do have incidences of people who are still standing by only breathing. And those records have been documented. So it's biologically possible. But the new thing I want to get you to is what happens to your diaphragm when you pull in a breath. You have that membrane, that diaphragmatic membrane right in the center of your being, doing this basically bellows-like pump, massive pump. Every time you're breathing, it's a fluid movement channel of extraordinary power. So that's how I want to connect breathing to hydration. And when I try to talk to people about hydration strategies, breathing this is one reason why I think it's so important. So that is the part about vapor that I didn't want to miss, or breathing. But what I'd like to get back to is this larger reconceiving of water as nature's mother tongue, if I can put it that way. Water is really the tabula rasa language of everything. And this is what Mei Wan Ho was working on. So if you go outside, the amount of information coming into you from cosmic rays and solar flares and tree pollens and soil information and bird sounds. And I'm just sort of laying a few points for you to kind of get, oh my goodness, when I walk outside, the incoming information, the vitality of it that's conspiring with the biology that you are to uplift you and keep you vital and keep you living. That's extraordinary, extraordinary amount of information that's all severed the minute we go back inside. So being inside is dehydrating and not fun. I mean, if water is a language and we're missing all the songs that are being sung between us and creation, I just want to cry for our culture and try to get us out again into mud baths and stomping and being joyous, living, leading people through our ability to hydrate ourselves. So, what do you think of that?
I love it. I love it. So if I could ask you, I think a few people maybe joined late and missed what you were saying about your new book. I know I see Joseph, you're on here. Joseph, you're going to want to hear this. Gina's working on a new book. If she could just tell us a little bit about it
Oh
before.
gosh, thank you for asking. Okay, so I've tried to support the work of Dr. Gerald Pollack, who really was able to identify in his lab. He's not the first person. If you go to indigenous cultures, they completely got that there were phases of water, that it came in a vapor, that it came in liquid, that it came in ice, and that it comes in a kind of jelly-like form that's got, a lot of density before it finally turns into, this plasma-like quality. And Jerry, my entire work and life has intersected with what he was doing. I was coming as an anthropologist looking at how desert communities hydrated when there wasn't any liquid. I mean, just a straightforward, like they should be dead without 8 glasses of water. Why aren't they all dead? I don't understand. And they're better hydrated than we are. And that's really when I began this investigation about, well, how do we get hydrated? Especially when we don't have 8 glasses a day to drink. And Jerry's work became seminal to helping me understand why eating a traditional date in these desert communities, turns out to be an incredible hydrating strategy. Having a coconut in a Polynesian society, again, super, super strategy because those foods are in a phase of water that is perfectly matched to our cell structure. So Jerry has a new book not on water this time, but on charge, on electricity. And we all know that water conducts electricity. We all know that. We just don't think of that as a biological feature of ourselves. And Jerry's book really covered electricity as an unsuspecting force of nature that we're not paying enough attention to. In fact, in his book Charge, he makes the case for the fact that electricity is the equal and counterforce to gravity. The two together are what make the whole system run, and that we're not having the conversation about electricity that is necessary. So in that new book, he lays out the role of electricity in life. And I said, but Jerry, you covered it in volcanoes, you covered it in clouds, but you didn't, what about electricity in the human body? That's what we're really interested in. And of course, we go back to Robert Becker's work and the body electric. And so I'm trying right now to put together a book that has recipes for increasing the electricity in your body. And I'm not talking about just food recipes, but also movement recipes and sun gazing recipes. And because people tell us go out in the sun, but they don't tell you that it only takes 1 minute and 15 seconds for us to look up at the morning sun to start the electrical charge in our body. And that's based on the work of Dr. Glenn Jeffries. So we just have so much more new information. All I'm trying to do is package it for people. And I'm especially interested in the role of sound in creating electricity in the body. So I'm actually co-authoring this book with acoustic physicist John Stewart Reed, who you may know from his work on cymatics and making sound visible. Once we start seeing the wave patterns in sound, we can actually see how that gets imprinted on the cell. Well, that's crazy. That's wonderful. So how do we do it? So the book will be called Switch. I think we're going to do something very unique, which is we're going to put it chapter by chapter on Substack so people just get it as we're writing it. So
Amazing. J. Paul?
Yeah, it sounds like there's a wet sound symposium in the coming up here that we might bring that together. A soaking wet sound symposium. That's beautiful. I'm glad that you're working with Don Stewart. He's marvelous, his work. Super.
we are I mean, there's just giants, pioneers just all over the place right now, just bringing all this stuff together. It's really,
Yeah.
really exciting.
And I think it's very important. Tomorrow morning, I will look at the sun for 1 minute or a minute and a half. Or yeah.
Do you know, I actually have become so convinced when I get out of bed in the morning, I fling open my window. I take my phone and I put on one Pandora song because they're usually about 2 minutes long, and I stick my head out the window until the song's over. Then I might even go back to bed.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
it's just like, okay, I really believe this stuff. So
And that's brave. That's brave in Chicago.
it's brave in Chicago. I have to do it with my fur coat.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Blessings.
Thank you. Does anyone want to ask about fascia? I'm thought for sure we'd have that conversation.
Absolutely. Just throw something out there that will take us off
Yeah,
the call and
yeah,
let's some food for thought as we
food for
move through
thought.
our day.
Right. So in 2010, we didn't even really know what fascia is. We were still dissecting it and throwing it in the can while we looked at organs because we thought that's what anatomy was. So fascia is that amazing web-like connective tissue that is shot through. Now been so much fascia research in the last 15 years that it's just extraordinary. We now have followed a thread of that fascia all the way to the cell membrane. So every time you move, your connective tissue is pulling your cell membrane along. And they're all in these beautiful web-like, encasements. Fascia is the new irrigation system that we didn't know existed, which is again not just osmosis, but an extraordinary secondary. Wait a minute, I would call it the primary. All I'm trying to say is that nature, biology always has many paths to the most important thing. It never does just one thing. Getting sunlight isn't just one thing. It does produce vitamin D, but it does produce circadian rhythm. It does produce melatonin. I mean, biology, Mother Nature is so smart that it's doing a million things we'll never even guess to keep us alive and upright and full of life. So fascia is a irrigation system in the body we didn't know about. It's an information highway and it's a storage system. So you haven't lost anything. You may not remember it, but your fascia knows everything, loves the whole story, and is there to keep you, contained, collected, and upright. And again, we didn't know, we now know that the fascia system maps directly onto the meridian system. So all we're doing is another way of talking about something that was already explored in other cultures. Even that, even that Iceman that I said is the most studied body, that ancient creature found in the Italian Alps actually had acupuncture points marked on its body with charcoal. Charcoal had saturated the skin, so there were acupuncture points on that body. Just we. How did we lose so much information? I guess we just got dehydrated.
I guess so. Hey, Gina, somebody's asking, Katrina's asking, how we find your Substack. Do you have you created it yet? Do
Oh,
you
I
have a
haven't
name for it?
created it yet. Yeah, but it will be coming. So in the next 3 months. But I can keep you notified of that. We have a way if you go to the Hydration Foundation, hydrationfoundation.org, Hydration Foundation, it rhymes. .org. It's a nonprofit. And sign up for my newsletter. I always send you hydrating tricks and what's going on in the world of interest. And we'll definitely post our Substack. We also have a new Instagram account at News Story of Water. And we're putting a lot of this kind of information, this collective information, because there's lots of people studying water and lots of people studying consciousness, lots of people studying electricity. We're just trying to be the person who goes, yeah, see how they're connected. So,
Amazing. Well, it looks like we hit the top of the hour, and again, we are just beyond honored that you joined us today. Thank you so much, and I'm so excited for your to start reading your new chapters with John Stewart Reed.
mhm.
And I hope that you all will consider joining Bana because your membership helps us do the work of connecting water enthusiasts and bringing you the information and the resources that you need. And hope you'll join us again for future calls. Again, we're really looking forward to Casey Walsh, uh, PhD at UC Santa Barbara, and to talk about hot springs and hot spring culture in Mexico. And thank you all so much for joining us, and hydrate and buy Gina's book. It's amazing. And thank you all so much for joining us, and hope to see you again next month.